Hello, I want to thank you for wanting to learn some cool stuff about the nation's capital. First, a history lesson. 1775, the battles of Lexington and Concord, the beginning of the American Revolution, when American colonists fought for and won their independence from Great Britain. July 1776, the Second Continental Congress, including Adams, Jefferson, Franklin, and Hancock, declared the American colonies are free and independent states. Through the leadership of General George Washington in battles like Saratoga and others, the colonists took on year after year the greatest military in the world. In 1782, Lord Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown, and the United States was a free and independent country, in name only. Each state was more or less completely independent under the Articles of Confederation. States could raise their own armies, print their own currencies, and put tariffs on each other. Border disputes could not be reliably settled, as no higher authority existed to adjudicate their disputes. Congress had to request tax money. The entire idea of America was coming apart at the seams. And the government, such as it did exist at the time, under the name of the Congress of the Confederation, had a simply terrible graphics department. This is Independence Hall, venue of the Constitutional Convention. Come 1787, it got so bad that the Congress finally agreed that delegates would be sent from the various states to Philadelphia to amend the Articles of Confederation. These delegates, led by George Washington, quickly agreed that the Articles of Confederation were completely broken. So broken, in fact, that they had to create a new government from scratch. They did, through the summer, in complete secrecy, boarding up the windows and not talking about it outside the State House. Have you ever played a video game? Have you ever started a video game over to play it through better the second time around, knowing what you know through the first playthrough? That's the opportunity those who would become known as the Founding Fathers knew they had. They were among the most knowledgeable people in America at the time. They knew what worked and what hadn't worked in Europe. They said to each other, we can create a new government from scratch, build a framework of a government that lasts. It's at least worth a shot. And they couldn't agree on anything else. How will the people and the states be represented in this new republic? Will the new government take on the debt of the individual states? What city would be the capital? Are slaves people or property? Proportional representation or equal? Is having a president a good idea? Where will the capital be? This last question proved to be particularly thorny. Naturally, each state wanted to be host to the national capital, and in turn, have extra influence on the federal government. Early North-South divisions, moreover, meant that the northern states wanted the city to be at least somewhere in the north, and likewise for the southern states. Of the many compromises made that summer, one would end up creating one of the most interesting curiosities in the history of American government, a territory neither in nor part of any state, one completely independent of the states and under the exclusive control of Congress, the District of Columbia. 1789, George Washington becomes president on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan. The first Congress meets in 1789, the Republic begins in Federal Hall, and it's time to get down to brass tacks. Where will the capital be? Alexander Hamilton wanted New York. Thomas Jefferson wanted something more rural, and in the South. At the same time, Hamilton wanted U.S. debt and a Bank of the United States. Jefferson wanted anything but national debt, and anywhere but New York or some major city to be the capital city. So the ultimate compromise was between Hamilton and Jefferson personally. Hamilton got his bank, and Jefferson got the capital in the South. The original District of Columbia, precisely 100 square miles, roughly 2/3 from Maryland, the northern and eastern segments, and 1/3 from Virginia. We have Washington City, Washington County, Alexandria City, Alexandria County, and Georgetown. The new capital is situated adjacent to the booming port city of Georgetown, Maryland, now the neighborhood of Georgetown in D.C. George Washington chose not only exactly where along the Potomac River the city would be built, he also chose who would design it, a French engineer and architect named Pierre L'Enfant. This is his city of Washington, designed for 1 million people. New York, at that time the most populous city in America, had a population of merely 33,000. Pierre L'Enfant looks at the layout of the land that will be where he builds his city, and he sees a hill called Jenkins Hill. He calls it a pedestal, awaiting a monument. He said, this is where we will build the symbol of American government. Trivia question. In high school geometry, you have an x-axis and a y-axis. And where they meet, in the middle, 0, 0, what's that called? The origin. The Capitol building is the origin of the grid of Washington, D.C. We have the y-axis, North Capitol Street and South Capitol Street, and the x-axis, East Capitol Street, and what would be West Capitol Street is the National Mall. That divides the city into its quadrants, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Then he puts a grid of streets on the map, lettered and numbered according to their distance from and relationship to the Capitol building. We have A, B, C northbound, A, B, C southbound, 1st, 2nd, 3rd eastbound, 1st, 2nd, 3rd westbound. He puts circles and squares all over the city, what we now call Washington Circle, Farragut Square, DuPont Circle, Logan Circle, McPherson Square, Scott Circle, Mount Vernon Square, and others. And diagonal avenues crisscrossing the city, connecting them. The idea is that the city is in and of itself a work of art, the Constitution in city form.